Hi everyone, it's Jenny. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. So, come on to do the next part of my journal. I've got a little box and I've put everything in it. So, I've got all my bits of ephemera cut out. These are all my spare pieces of paper that I'm going to use for things. I've even kept all the little bits because I don't know what I'm going to need and what I'm going to use. Excuse me. I've got some black backing paper if I want to use that, and then the only two extra things I'm going to have is some yellow baker's twine, and I've got this little bit of green washi. So that's going to be my little extras that I'll use, and then at the end I'll probably have some little glitzy embellishments. So let me just move that out the way, and I'm going to show you where I've got to so far. So you've seen this part. I think I did, yes, I did that on the last video. I've just added a little embellishment there underneath, and then in there I've made just a little, well, not a little one, a big sort of journaling card really. I've put a little bit of the baker's twine on there, and I've covered it with the pink at the back, and that just slips in there. Now I could put that at the front so that it stays on top of here, but I decided not to. I decided to put it underneath. And what I've also done is I've cut out a piece of green, and I've cornered the edges. And what my thinking is, I want to put it about here. I think it is. I need to get it just equal. What I need to do actually is just take that out for a minute, because that little bit of twine is, and I put another piece under here just to cover it. So that's going to go under there. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line this up, because I have cut it and I've inked it to the right size. So I'm going to put that on there, and I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Just going to put my little cap on here so that I don't squidge out too much. Okay, and then I think it was about, I'm liking having the dots because you can line it up with those. So yeah, I've just inked around the edge, and then I've cut out two of the little sentiments, and I've just backed them onto some black, and I've just cornered the edges. So I'm going to have this on here, I think. And I was thinking, shall I have it like that? Shall I have it like that? I was going to go there, but that's going to be too much for me. I need to have it like that, I think. So that's where I'm going to go. So, and this is just for me. This is, as you know, this is my first ever journal. And so far, I've done quite a few bits off camera. I've been sort of pottering around, just having a go of bits, which I've really enjoyed. And I'm going to pop that like that. I'll probably pop something else on the front as we go along, or at the end. So I wanted to show you what I've done. Now, oh right, these are all my spare bits. Kept them in there, keep them to the side. So bear in mind, this is my first journal. So I used my, now I can't remember if it's an awl to make some holes, and then I've just put some little clips on. Now they're not they're not exactly, but they are good enough for me for my first attempt. And I've just put two lots of string through, and I've put the baker's twine that matches through, and as Amanda suggested, I've just put them in a bow for the moment because I don't know how thick this is going to be. I have also cut out and sorted out my two signatures. So I've made sure that they're all exactly the same, and I've got 10 in each, so that's 20. I've got two signatures, and I've put them all in the order that I want them in. So that's for the next job, but not for today. So let me just pop those out the way. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to do the front cover and the back cover. Oh no, that's coming off. I'm going to cover all these little yellow pieces. So what I've done, let's see, I've done a lot of the work. Also, I wanted your thoughts on, I've got these little rose gold corners. Does anyone use them? You know, what do you think? Do you think I could have one of those on? Or I've also got these little clear photo corners. So let me know in the comments what, you know, what you use for your corners of your journal, if you do use anything. So what I did was I got a piece of paper, the print off like this with the queen bee on. And then I've gone ahead and I've cut 3 little pockets. Now, all I've done is I've measured, I've followed Amanda on this. I've just had to change my measurements slightly because of my size. So basically I've cut a piece that was the size I want to cover, and then 1/2 inch each side. And then I've literally gone and scored 1/2 inch and then mitered the edges, and then they'll be like that. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these down, put a tiny bit on, and this is going to be the bottom little pocket. So yeah, very little tiny bit of glue there. Just had to think, am I doing it right? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Just a little bit on the edges. Yeah, I'm doing it right. And then this is going to stick here, and then we're going to have a little pocket. So I'm going to put a tiny piece of glue. I'm hoping this is how I should have done it. I wonder if I shouldn't have stuck those, although I haven't stuck it right down, so I'm hoping this is okay. So let me just measure this up, because I want that to be down the bottom. There we go. Put that on there. And then I've also done, so the same piece of paper, I've cut out another 2 pieces. So we've got a little bee on each one. And again, I've made it 1/2 inch wider, and I've scored at 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to fold that in. And then I've just cornered the little edges so that basically this is going to tuck like that. And that one is going to tuck like that. I've then got this space. So what I've done, before I do those 2, I've got this piece of pink, which I just need to work out exactly where that's going to go. So if that one goes there and that one goes there, I just want to make sure I've got a similar amount of pink at the top as the bottom, which is there. Okay, so that's right. Yeah, so there we go. If I hold that in place, I just want to measure, just make sure that that's about the same. Yes, it is. So I'm just going to do 1/2 and 1/2. And I'm not going to have a pocket under here or anything, so I'm just going to stick that right down, that 1/2 first, so I don't want to move it. And then I'll pull it back and do that 1/2. Okay, this might be quite a long video, because I'm doing it hopefully I've cut out some of the time by doing the measurements. Right, so that is now going to go down there. Now, I don't think I need to glue these bits. I think I just glue here. That's what I'm going to do. I might be wrong. And if I am, I'll learn for next time. And then I'm just going to try and slide those in exactly the same as that one. There we go. And then the last one, exactly the same. Measured it 1/2 inch and scored it, burnished it. The only thing I haven't done is I didn't go around with my distress ink because I forgot. Just realised I've just not done that, but that's... I can deal with that afterwards. There we are. So that means then I have got, hopefully, let me just get my ruler out, one that goes all the way down, yes, across, yes, and a second one, and then the bottom one. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to leave that like that. Now the back one is going to be a little bit more tricky. However, I have cut everything out. So I'm just going to put those bits there, and I've basically got a piece of just use some old card, stripy green, and then I've cut a piece which is, sure what size this is, and obviously this is dependent, this is 8.5 by 4 1/4. Now I've only done that size because I've measured, got a bit of water on that, I've measured my length here, and then I've scored at, now what was it, I have written it down, I'm going to find it for you because I will link Amanda's video for this because she's got it all on, but I have written down, hang on, I'll just look at my scrawl, 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch, so there's 2 score lines on that, so there's one there and then there's another one there, and basically this is going to sit on here like that, and it's going to be like a flip pocket. So I'm going to stick this piece down into here because I didn't use double-sided paper, which is fine because this just makes it a little bit more sturdy. So I'm just going to stick that down. I'm just going to use some tape for this. Get rid of that. Oh, some of these don't want to work, and then they come out like that. I don't know why they do that. I really don't. I have no idea why that happens. Anyway, so let's just get this in place. Should be about there, and I've cut it so that I've got a tiny little border all the way around. Now, I'm not going to forget this time. I'll go back and do the others. I'm just literally putting a little bit of vintage photo on because it's my favourite. And it will just blend in that little white edge, which is why I did a little bit of an edge there. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold that over and go down there. edges. And then I think I'm also going to do that one. Like so. There we go. Mind me ink out the way, otherwise I'm going to get it everywhere. Just wipe my fingers, make sure I haven't got any of that on me. Right, and then basically what we've got for the front here, so that's going to stick on there like that, and then we're going to have a little flip pocket. So for the front, I have cut a piece which is, let me have a look, this is 6.5 by 4.5, and then I've gone round the edges. I think that's half an inch, scored on 3 sides, half an inch, mited the edges, and then gone over them. And then I've gone in 1 inch and I've cut the middle part out. Then cut a piece of acetate. It's quite thick. Now, Amanda used some transparent, which was much thinner, but this is all I've got. So this is what I'm going to go with. And I've left myself a little edge all the way round. So I should be able just to tape. I'm thinking, do I tape onto that or tape onto here? I think I tape onto the paper first. So I'll just put this as close to the edge as I can, like so, and about there. Get myself all stuck here and pop this round. Don't know how everyone's finding the weather, but we've got absolutely awful rain today. I think there is a storm coming, and I can't remember what it was called. Right, about there. Don't know when the heat wave's coming back, if we're going to get one. I hope we're going to get a little bit more sun. Typical, because the children are on school holidays now, because it's raining. Right, and then I need a little bit more for there, like so. We've done too much now. Get that right close to the edge, but I don't want it going over. Right, that end's okay. Just need to snip a tiny piece off that, like so. Right. Okay. Now let me just get my little pokey tool, wherever it is. I can't see it. Use my nails. There we go. That's one bit. I always just find it easier with one of those tools, just to pick the edge off. But go with what I've got, which right now is my nail. Sorry, I'm not talking as much because can you hear the concentration? I'm sure once I've done a few, I'll get the idea, but I haven't got a clue really how to make pockets and things, so I am following Amanda quite, what's the word, quite strictly. Now I'm just going to pop that there, like so, that bit there, and that bit there. Right, that stuck that down. I don't think I've gone over the edges. Make sure that folds in okay, which it does. That does, and that does. Let me just turn it over and make sure you can't see any. Right, that's cool. Right, so I don't think I have to stick this down because I'm going to stick it straight onto here. Now let me just make sure that this is the right way. And I can't remember if I'm going in the middle or the bottom. I'm going to go there, simply because there's that little watermark there, and I can cover that up by going there. So I'm just going to put some glue 3 edges only. So that one, and that one, not the top one. Nearly did it. I had to think then. Right. And then I'm thinking I want one little row of dots on the bottom. There we go. And then I've made a little pocket. And if you wanted to, I'm not saying this will be what I'm putting in there, but if you did, look, I'm really pleased with that. Little things. Not sure what I'm going to do up there yet. Haven't decided on that. So I'm just going to turn this over and I'm going to stick this down. So it's got to be, so it's this bit. This is the bit we're sticking down, isn't it? Like that. I just want to make sure that I'm covering there. Now there is a little black, I'm not very happy about that tiny little black piece there, but I can't go any closer because I need to make sure that this doesn't encroach on the this bit. Just wondering, it's quite close to there. So do you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to get a little bit of this fabric. I'm just thinking it's going to encroach. So if I go to there, pop that away, and then I only need a tiny piece. So let me cut a slither off. I don't want to waste a whole piece. It might not be completely 100% straight there, but I'll use the straight edge just to go over. Oh, Jenny. What was I doing? I thought that was long enough. Honestly. What am I like? Well, do you know what? I'm going to make this work. I'm not cutting a whole nother strip. Going to make it work. Right, that is the straight edge. So I'm going to go down the bottom there. I'm going to go up the top to there. You're not going to see this, but I know it's there, and that would bother me. So because I know it's there, I'm going to have to do something about it. So I'm just going to cut a little strip there. Gosh, this is a bit bodge and run, isn't it? Dear me. And then I'm hoping my head's not keep going in there. I'm just going to put this piece down here, like so. Right, let's get back to it. So that is the bit that's going down. Now that's much better because I can come in slightly, and that's going to be just fine. So that's where we're going to glue. So let me pop the glue on this piece. Gosh, you know when you're doing it and you think, am I gluing the right piece? I'm hoping I am. And I'm just going to make sure I've got the same sort of, there we go, each, yep, same bit black there and there. Okay, so that is nicely down. So there we have, oh, the little pocket, and then we can flip it over, and then it's got this little, I'm just going to stand it up so you can see it's got this little bit, so you've got enough to put things in. Now I have made with this paper some matching little pockets, and I've done 3 similar to the ones that we did on the front page. They're all the same, and they are, I'm just going to show you, they are 4.5, I think it was 3, 4.5 by 3, and I've done 3 of them, and then I've just mitered the edges, and then I cut that bit off that was sticking down. So I think, yes, so this is the bottom one. I've done 1/2 inch around each side I've scored, and then folded it over, and it's not meeting in the middle. And then I've done it so that these go on here, and I'm sure that's where they do go. I can't remember now. Well, do you know what? They're going to go there because that's what I want to do with them. So let me just get my ink before I forget and go around the edges. I did make a little mistake on this one. All part of the learning process. I cut too much, but I'm okay with that because this is a practice. This is just for me, so that I can look back and say, this was my first ever journal. And you can only get better. And like, you know, Amanda says, if you haven't given this a go, just try it. I didn't think I was any good at mixed media. I'm not saying I'm fantastic, but having followed the mixed media challenge and completed it, I've used all sorts of things that I probably wouldn't have used if I hadn't have been doing it. So just like, let's give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? You make a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes, don't they? So I'm going to just glue those 3 sides just on the little fold piece, like so. And then this one is going to go at the bottom. I'm just going to line it up like that. And then we've made a little pocket. And then these ones, the reason I've cut them at the edges is I'm hoping that they're going to just slot in. It might be that one that goes there. Like so. However, have you noticed anything? Because I just have. Look at the lines. So I'm going across with that one, and I'm going across with that one, and I've gone down. So this one has to go in the middle. I've gone down with that one instead of across, but you know what? That was supposed to happen. This was supposed to happen. There's a reason. I didn't see that. Oh well. If I put it in the middle, it actually, you won't know, will you? So I'm just going to try and slot that in exactly the same. Just wipe my fingers. There. It was supposed to be like that. Across, down, across. Yeah. I might have got away with that one. Might not be so lucky next time. I really hadn't noticed that. Never mind. Never mind. Let's just slot that in. Do you know what? I actually don't mind it like that. It gives it a little bit of different, doesn't it? Yeah. So now I've got one little pocket there. I've got one deeper pocket there. And then I've got one pocket that goes all the way down. I'm happy with that. Happy with that. So, and that flips over and we've got a pocket in there. How cool is that? I really like that. So, do I cover this back piece first? Because what I've also made, last little bit to do, is I've made a side pocket. So I've just got a piece of paper, and this is 3.5 by 9. Ooh, what's that? 9? Is that 9 5/8? Could be 9 5/8. And then I've just 1/2 inch round 3 corners, not the top, and then mitered them in. I'm going to glue those down, and then that is going to go on the side here, and it will give me a side pocket. So actually I only need to cover this piece. So in my little scraps here, what have I got that could be? Wouldn't it be nice to have a bit of pink? Not quite long enough, is it? Not long enough. That's not really long enough. However, do you know what? Had a thought. You know what thought did? So I am going to cut. How long is that? Again, let me just work out how much we're going on there. So let's say we go from there to there. So from there to there, we want about 9. So I'm thinking 3, 6, 9, 3. So if I do 3, if I do 2 pieces of 3 inches. Actually, I'm just going to take that little end off because that's got a tiny little bit of white on it. So get rid of that. Don't want that. Yes, I'm going to do 3, 2 lots of 3. So there's 1. And this is like a cuff to think about that. Right, that's the spare piece, because I'm thinking if I do that there and I do that there, then what's my gap in the middle? My gap in the middle is going to be just 3.5. So we want, what piece? That's going to be green. That's going to be green. So 3.5. 3.5. What have I got left here? What's that piece? That's 3.5. I'll sort that piece out in a minute. Do you know what? That's matching that, isn't it? Right, let me just trim this up nicely. And that needs to be 3, doesn't it? So let me just get rid of that rough edge first, because that will bother me. Get that gone. And then that is exactly 3. And then if I tuck that under, sorry, I'm thinking out loud here. I tuck that under. Yes, I'm going to do that. I'm going to have that under there. I'm going to have that bit on there. So if that bit goes there, like so, then that bit goes there, and then that bit goes there. Right, let's not move. Let me just pencil that because you're not going to see that. So let's glue this up rather well, because this is quite thick card I've used for the back bit. Right, I'm going to get that into my little pencil mark. Make sure that's straight. And I've done it that way down because it's matching that. I'm hoping this isn't going to, I think by the time I've decorated it and put things in. It's going to be okay. Now, this is what's going to go on the edge. So I'm just seeing what that is going to cover. So that is going to cover that edge. So as long as I go that way, no, wrong bee, wrong piece. As long as I go that way, that's going to be covered. Let me just double check, because I don't want to look silly. No, so that's going to have to go that way, isn't it? Yeah. It might look a bit psychedelic. Well, not psychedelic, but right. Yes, we're going to go like that. Do fast forward this bit if you want to. It's me doing this thought process. But I could have done this off camera and not shown you, but I wanted you to see, because certainly if you have never journaled before, I'm a complete novice. I want you to see that if I can do it, seriously, anyone can do it. And that piece is going to go there. And you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to ink. I'm not ink. Didn't ink the edges, did I? Another one. I'm not going to do the top on that one. I will go round and do these once I'll get to it. I'm going to leave that one open because you could always, if you wanted, just grab something and pop something in there. I've made my own little pocket there. That's my own little idea. Right, so that leaves us this piece, which is going to go there, and that's a side pocket. So we are going to glue this down. Like so. I'm going to get that right to the edge, because that will then cover up my little yellow. And it is slightly higher than the bottom piece, but I'm okay with that. There we are. And then once I have done my tags and things, because I'm going to mount these onto some black, you know, I can put pieces in there. I can have them sideways, lengthways. I can pop a little piece in there. I can go there, there, and there. Wow. No, also, just remembered, I made 2 little pockets for here as well. So this is all going to incorporate quite nicely, isn't it? I think so. So I've just literally used the same little idea. Again, this is not my idea. This is Amanda's. 3.5. I think these are by 3.5. 3.5 by 3.5. 2 squares. Scored 1/2 inch on those 3 sides. Mitered the edges, and then I'm going to glue that down like that. And then I've done exactly the same with that one. It's a bit askew with that one, you can see, but I had to keep going to get it that it wasn't touching. But that's fine, because you're not going to see that. And then I'm going to do them one like that and one like that, because then I've got 2 more pockets. So let's just pop that down like so. I'm going to pop that. I'm going to come up a little bit, because I think it's going to, if I line it up with this piece, it's not going to look, and I've got 1 edge of dots either side. Yeah, because that's actually pretty spot on. Okay, and then I'm going to glue this one down. Now, where do I want this one? Probably down a bit, because if I want to put a tag in the top, higher one, it gives me that option, and I want to cover that little line up there. So I'm thinking there, which is the same 1 row, 1 row, 1 row of dots. I know I'm a bit particular about that, but I couldn't cope with it. I haven't got OCD to a great amount, but it would bother me. Wow. Well, let's go back to the beginning. I am so chuffed with myself. I seriously am. Probably laughing at me. So let's put our little tag back in. So we've made that. We've got a little journal card there. I'm going to pop that in there like so. I say I could pop it in there and that would hold, it would cover up my embellishment, but that would hold this closed like so. But do you know what? No, I'm going to go like this because I've put the Queen Bee journal bit on the front. And then tuck my little string out the way. That goes there, and then that just tucks under there. And actually, if I wanted to, I could just put a little Velcro dot, which I might do at the end. So that's my front page. I'm happy with that. We've then got inside 1, 2, 3 pockets. It's on the front page. And then on the back, we got our little window pocket. We turn it over. We've also got 1, 2, 3 pockets there. I made a sneaky little pocket there. We've got 1 under there and we've got 2 there. There we go. Not done anything on the back yet. So I'm happy with that. I'm really, really happy with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go away and get the signatures all inked up and ready. I'm sorry that's quite a long video, 41 minutes, but I didn't want to rush it. And I just hope you enjoyed it. I hope, you know, if you haven't journaled before, then please do, you know, go over to Amanda's channel, watch some of her videos because she makes it so fun and interesting. Look on her Ko-fi page and see what, you know, she gives you everything, the whole set. You get the embellishments, you get the ephemera, you get the papers. You literally haven't, she's done all the thinking for you. So yeah, that's my little video for today. Hope everyone's enjoyed it. Please do hit the thumbs up, and also the question about the corners that I said at the beginning. I'll look forward to your comments. So crafty hugs everyone, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.